Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer and welcome to Best Kept Plans. Today's video is going to be a monthly budget recap for February 2025 using the Budget by Paycheck workbook from the Budget Mom. If you're interested in seeing that, please stick around. Okay, so we are starting this monthly budget recap in the monthly section of my Budget by Paycheck workbook for February. As you can see, I did a little bit of deco in here, really leaning into using my TCMC washi in my Budget by Paycheck workbook. All of my bills are checked off except for Sikorsky and Audible. Sikorsky was my car loan, but I actually finished paying that off at the end of 2024. Unfortunately, I prepped like the first 4 months of 2025 early in my monthly spreads. And so that became obsolete. And then I think it was in December, I got an Audible annual membership. I paid for the entire year because it was a deal. And so I don't have Audible as a monthly bill anymore either. If we cut forward, we're going to focus, of course, on my closing out pages for February. And the first one we're going to talk about is the debt payment plan. I feel like I finally have a hang on how to complete this page. I didn't use it for the longest time, and then I kind of used it on and off. Even last year, I feel like I kind of used it on and off, but now being in the second month of 2025, I feel like I really understand this page and I'm appreciating using this page. I currently only have one source of debt, that is my Nelnet student loan. At the end of February, my balance was $24,993.52. My interest rate is a little over 5%. My minimum payment's actually closer to $700, but my employer does provide me with $333.33 every month to put towards my student loan. That adds up to be $4,000 a year. They're going to do that for a total of 5 years, giving me $20,000 towards my student loans. So if I deduct their contribution, my personal minimal payment is about $400. Now, because this is my only source of debt, I have been focusing on paying this debt down. I want to be smart and strategic about it. I want to take advantage of that full $20,000 that my employer is providing me with. But once that $20,000 is done, I think I have it for 2 more years. I want to have like basically nothing left to pay off because I don't want to have to worry about a $700 a month payment. So I made an extra $300, an extra $80, an extra $500 payment. And then here is the payment from my employer. All of my debt contributions in the month of February were $1,613.33. Now, at the end of last month, my debt total was a little over $26,600. We talked about how right now it is a little under $25,000. And that means I made a progress of $1,646.66 or 2.3%. Now, when it comes to my overall debt progress, what we see on the side here in terms of my total debt I started with, that is the total debt I had when I purchased my new car in June 2022. And so as you can see, I've gotten that down quite a bit. I've made an overall debt progress of almost $46,000 or 64.8%, which is very, very exciting. The next thing we're focusing on is my monthly net worth tracker. I do have my assets listed here. I do have them covered up. I will share the total of my assets, but I like to keep how that breakdown is private. And we already talked about my liability. My single liability is my Nelnet student loan. I did figure out my net worth last year. It was $387,877.82. And that's going to be very important when we come down to the bottom of this page. So my total assets in February were a little over 400,000. And if we subtract my liabilities from my assets, you can see that my total net worth for February is $376,852.11. That is a change of negative $11,000. And I know that I keep my assets private in terms of their breakdown, but I will tell you that the reasoning behind that is primarily because I saw a loss in my retirement accounts of about $16,000 from January to February. That is likely because the stock market has been really volatile lately because of some decisions that are being made by our government. And so that is why my net worth has unfortunately dropped so significantly in 1 month. Hopefully, that will rebound itself. I'm praying that it will rebound itself. We'll see what happens. With that, I try not to get too stressed out about my retirement accounts just because I am so far off from retiring. Obviously, I want to see consistent growth, but you are going to have ups and downs with hopeful and overall trend of going up. Now we're going on to my favorite page, which is the monthly budget category breakdown. The first thing we're going to talk about is how I came up with my total monthly inflow. So my starting balance is the money that I brought over from January into February 2025. And for me, that was $1,613.45. My earned income is the income from my full-time job. That's the only thing I can include here. And that was $7,551.73. Other income, the $333.33 my employer gives me towards my student loan is in here. I did go on a vacation and my mom did reimburse me for some things that I had paid for initially. So a lot of this is actually that. And then savings used is from my travel sinking fund. I paid for a couple things for my vacation that I went on that equaled $339. So all of that added together does equal $10,566.41, which is my total monthly inflow. If we look at my budget categories here, the budgeted amounts listed here, I basically just multiply whatever my pay period budget is times 2 to get the monthly, or I loosely add up the expenses in that category to get my budgeted amount. It's nothing more serious than that. For groceries, I budget $500. I spent $454.07, so I was under budget by about $45. Definitely spending a lot more on groceries. We all know that inflation is real. We all feel that, I'm sure. I'm also trying really, really hard right now to eat as healthily as I can, and in trying to get in as much protein as I can. And in doing that, I am actually spending a lot more money on things like protein powder, protein chips that have become a really my favorite snack, basically, protein bars, special protein yogurt, things like that. Eating out, 150. I only spent 106.96. Now, I did go on vacation for the last week in February, and so this amount is technically a lot higher than that, but the eating out that I did while I was on vacation is coming out of my travel cash, so I'm not including that in my eating out cash. So that's 106.96. So under budget by about $43. Gas, I spent $82. I was under budget by 68. Miscellaneous, that's my miscellaneous cash envelope, my variable expense cash envelope. I only spent $37 out of it. So I was under budget by over $250, which is exciting. Definitely spent a ton out of miscellaneous bills. That's anything that I pay for out of my checking account that really doesn't fit into any of my other budgeting categories. So over $1,200, which is a lot, and I do always want to try to get that down. I can't remember what it was in January. It was 1,266. So it was a little down from January. We'll take that as a mini win. Savings, I always want to save at least $3,000. I save $4,312.49. That's a category where I'm never upset to be over budget. Utilities, I budget at $355 and it was just under that at $352 and some change. Personal is things like Netflix. There's a couple other ones, Spotify, Kindle Unlimited, those types of things. It added to $41.97, so I was under budget by $13. Housing is just my rent for $600. Giving is my church contribution for $20. Debt, I have my debt payment of $400. I did go over $1,600. Never upset about going over in debt. And then I did use 2 sinking funds, my RN APRN sinking fund for $280, and then my travel sinking fund, which was the $330,884. And one thing that we need to talk about is that in order for me to have a balanced budget, to have my inflow equal what I'm putting out, I need to make sure I'm accounting for the cash that I'm rolling over from February into March. That's very important. And so I do have my March starting balance down here, $1,113.09. So if I add everything together, it does equal $10,566.41, which means we were off by $0, which is very, very exciting. I will say that I was initially wrong on both my inflow and my eating out categories. And so I did have to kind of go through and look through everything. And that is going to be it for my February monthly budget recap. Really excited how the year 2025 is going so far with regards to my budget. I do feel like I'm making strides with regards to my debt payoff as well as my savings, which is really, really exciting. I know I didn't comment at all on my savings trackers. This one's actually not updated. I do have to add in another $1,200 with my last paycheck in February, but I was away on vacation, so I haven't done it yet. And student loan, I have to fill in another $5 here because I made a $500 debt payment. But really, I'm just feeling very positive, feeling very motivated, and very excited to continue on this trend. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments about the way that I budget, the products that I use, please do not hesitate to put a comment down below. And as always, everyone, please be safe. Bye-bye.